Hello, maurieo! AutoCAD 2D Level 1, Session 4, Layering and Advanced Shapes. Hello, and welcome to this Session 4 in our 2D AutoCAD Level 1 course. Just a little bit of there that the course is about AutoCAD. So we're teaching AutoCAD. So it's not about any specific discipline with regards to, say, architecture, mechanical engineering, civil engineering, electrical engineering. It's about AutoCAD and teaching you the skills that are involved in AutoCAD. We do try to cross over and give a real basic and simple explanation or simple examples in various fields, but they're very simple and they're examples that everybody can understand rather than you needing specific information directly related to that field of endeavour. So as I say, it's about AutoCAD, it's about lines and circles and layers and polylines and things like that. The application of these things to specific disciplines with specific requirements is beyond the scope of the course. So by all means, bring your questions. Certainly we can try to answer them or find them out. That's true, but the actual course and the basic fundamentals of the course are about learning AutoCAD and AutoCAD skills. And then we're hoping that you, with those skills, can apply them into other areas. So let's go and have a look at our across at our course. And here's, of course, our home, the home page. And today we're going to be doing session 4, okay, which is here, layering and advanced shapes. So here's our little video that we're actually recording now. So and this is the notes that go with it. So there's the notes downloading to there and uploading by way of a PowerPoint here, and it's session 4. So in previous video, session 3, I forgot to change from the 2 to the 3, but it was definitely session 3. This is session 4, and we're going to be looking at layering and advanced shapes. Here's my contact details in case you've forgotten. I'm available, well, you can contact me 24/7, and if I can answer your question, I will. I try to answer them as quickly as I possibly can, but I'm not 100% successful in that, but definitely try to get back to you. If I don't get back to you in a sort of within a 24-hour period, maybe just send the email again or whatever. So here's our plan for today for session 4. No different to any other session, really. Sign the class register. That's very important that you get that signed, so we've got a good record of your attendance. Then we'll do an introduction, which this is a video of the introduction, or the proposed introduction. The live one, of course, is much better and the chance of feedback and what have you. So once I've given you my speech from the throne, so to speak, or the introduction, then we go into a Q&A where you bring your questions. So if you've been reviewing the topic or previewing the topic or reviewing last topics, bring your questions, email them in if you want them covered, but bring your questions and we'll answer them if we can. Then we're going to get stuck into some coursework. And for session 4, I've programmed you to be working on chapters 7 and 8. So that's where the pace setting to get through to the end of the course sits at 7 and 8. If you're not up to that, I would recommend that you work through at your own pace. Don't skip things, or don't go light in some areas, because it's all relevant. But I would suggest that if you're starting to fall behind, you probably need to put more time in to bring you up into line with the course. So so chapters 7 and 8, and then so we've got a 3-hour session. So after just before we go to pack up to leave, as part of the packing up to leaving, the last 15 minutes, have a bit of a recap, a forward planning. That will help me maybe put some information in that I need, and we'll work away from there. So that brings us to the learning outcomes, which is really a bit more detail about what is involved in this session. So in this session, we're going to be creating new drawings from templates. Now, these templates are important that you understand. They're a different file type. They're a DWT file, and they contain a lot of the information for that drawing, for the type of drawing. So you might have different templates for different types of drawing. If you do, say, you do some little building drawings, so you might have a building template. If you do some civil works around the buildings, you might have a civil template where everything's set up. You might have your layers set up in there, your line types, various blocks and things that you use, all set up in particular templates. So once you open that template, everything that you need to produce your drawing is in the template. So you might have a particular drawing that, say, you produce something similar once a week, and then so you would have a template that you would open, and it would have a lot of the stuff done in there. So one of the key things with AutoCAD is that you only ever draw something once, and then you copy it or modify it or use it. So you're not drawing the same thing all the time. You shouldn't be drawing the same thing all the time. You should be drawing different stuff every day. Okay. So used layer, and so that's the open there. Used layers and turn them on and off. So a lot of things are drawn in layers. So in a house, you might draw the windows in one layer, the doors in another, the electrical in another, and so on. And you can turn those layers on and off as and when you need them in various sheets or copies of the plan. So that's layers, and you should have drawn objects with properties. So any object you draw, like a line, might have a property. The properties might include line width, line type, the colour, and a number of other things. So we've got to keep an eye on the properties and make sure we get the right lines with the right properties. And of course, because you have different things in different places and different layers, you need to be able to modify and change things when you make mistakes or don't quite get things right. So we'll be covering that in chapter 7, and then it will become moving on a fair bit later on. Now, I should have be doing this as a slideshow from the current show, so that it comes up in the whole sheet like that. And I should perhaps be just moving my picture, should be over here out of the way a little bit so that my head's not in the way. All right, so now the next thing that we're going to be looking at is chapter 8. In chapter 8, we're going to start drawing some arcs, polylines, and ellipses, which are all, basic stuff that 2D drawings are a series of arcs, polylines, ellipses, and lines, of course, which we've done already. And from those, we'll create objects using lines and arcs, and we'll modify and close polylines, so obviously change things around, copy them, and we convert various objects into polylines. And you should have drawn ellipses. An ellipse is an oval or an egg, but it's mathematically it's used in quite a lot of areas to define various things and that. So there's some quite significant capabilities in AutoCAD to draw ellipses of various styles and type. So that's the outcomes. Now in the live session, of course, we go into Q&A, and so for Q&A, I'm going to pick myself up and move myself back. I might just leave myself there. All right. So Q&A. So obviously in this sort of slot, if people had questions in the live show, I'll attempt to answer them. Or I might, if people had sent questions in, I might do this, but that's going to be a bit not too possible with pre-recording. However, that's all good. And then after Q&A, what's new in Moodle? So we'll leave this little PowerPoint here and get out of that, and we'll go back to our Moodle and just see if there's anything relevant in there. So we'll close this down and close this down, and here we are back in the Moodle thing there. And I think we could probably move me back over to the left hand side there a little bit, so that we can see me sort of appearing to look up at the stuff that we're reading there. So here's the layering. So here's the chapter 7 little videos. These now, you've got the book there, so you really need, before each of these little practice or these videos here, which are technically doing exercises out of the book, there's some notes and stuff that are worth reading and reviewing before you do each video. So a typical scenario of, say for instance, how you would do this was, well, typically I would hope that you might read the notes and that before these videos, before you came to class, would be something that you could do, if you have a little bit of time, maybe like a bit of relaxation time or something like that, or if you find that relaxing, just to have a quick look through and see what's going on. And so then when you come to class, you could do the exercise, or when you come to sit down and do some CAD work. So the idea is that you would review the notes and then do the exercise, review notes, exercise, review notes and exercise, and then obviously the same thing through there with each one. So we've got layers, changing layers, and then we've got drawing an arc and some work with polylines, polygons, and ellipses. So that's pretty much the session there. I haven't really added anything in the resources. These are the practice files that we use, and the exercises for download. At this stage the course hasn't started, so as we do each session, I'm hoping to produce a little vlog that just a little tells what went on, or just a little bit of a review of the of what happened in the session. That I've been through the task videos, Ask Me Anything, so you can send in a question by email or whatever channel you like, and I'll attempt to answer it here and add it to these Ask Me Anything type questions. Some examples from previous courses are doing a similar thing, in particular the Project House videos, where one course that I run, I just get my students to run through these videos here, and in running through those videos they go through a similar set of skills. I won't say all of the skills or all of the detail that's in the booklets, but it certainly achieves pretty much the same end. The students come out fairly confident in CAD and quite pleased with having what they've produced. So that brings us pretty much to the end of the intro for session 4. Let's get in and get it done. I'm sure you now probably want me to speak less so that you've got more chance, more time to do stuff, because you're starting to get into the zone of things and getting a little bit of confidence about it. So I think I'll do that now. Cheers. See you.